What's up, guys? Rhett Harmon. I'm with Century 21 Novus, and that's pertinent today because I get the honor and privilege to introduce Mr. Mike Miedler. He is the Century 21 president and CEO of our entity as a global brand. And Mike is in New Jersey today, a phenomenal leader. He's been with the brand through many different stages, and it's really cool to see what he's doing, where he's leading us, and how it's all moving forward in the future. So without further ado, Mr. Mike Miedler.
Hey, Rhett, appreciate the invite to be with you guys today on Lab Coat, and Tristan and Nick, great meeting you guys virtually as well. And thanks for the opportunity to get in front of your audience.
Dude, thanks for being on. The first question I need to ask, are we bringing the gold jacket back?
The gold jacket will probably not be back, but I will tell you this, Tristan. I mean, as Rhett said a little bit earlier, you know, we are in 83 countries. We have a tremendous presence across Europe, across South America, across Asia, and in a lot of these countries, the gold jacket is the calling card, like it was here in the 70s and 80s. And
dude, it's still in my closet. I still have that thing, and I love it.
So let me tell you a funny story. I've been with the brand, as Rhett mentioned, a long time. I've been through and worked with a lot of the presidents, and one of the ones that was a big believer in the gold jacket would literally take the jacket, walk into Home Depot, and without fail would always get somebody asking him what was happening in the real estate market. So look, that's what we're here to do, talk about real estate.
Michael, really quick.
We're also here to talk about how Mike lives literally 10 minutes from Montclair, New Jersey, where I literally lived up until 2 years ago, and I had no idea.
So one of my favorite places is where I love to go get a beer and have a couple appetizers is Egan's, which I'm sure you know.
Okay, first of all, I opened Egan's. I bartended there. I swear to God, 15 years ago when Egan's opened, I was the first wait staff, first bartender. I worked there for 5 years. Sharon Egan and Chris Egan, they're still good friends of mine. Dude, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Dude, it's like long lost brothers, guys.
Exactly. When you come back to New Jersey, we absolutely have to connect. I'd love to catch up and go grab a beer there.
For sure, because I was supposed to go last week for spring break, but we can't leave the house, obviously. So when I can get back there, I'm gonna hit you up for sure.
Awesome.
Michael, can you tell us how many Century 21 agents you guys have across the world? Because I'm always shocked that people don't know that you guys are massive.
We are. In fact, I truly believe that we are the only true residential brand that is global in nature. So we have 11,000 offices, 135,000 sales professionals in about 83 countries. And, it's big. And, just yesterday, as just kind of the world has been shifting through the current virus and health situation, literally every week we're on the phone with most of our countries talking about what's happening there, what best practices are occurring, what they're doing in order to kind of keep business moving forward, but keep their professionals and their customers safe. And, we're just on the phone with China, where we have literally close to 5,000 offices and over 30,000 sales professionals there. And, they were kind of walking us through the 4 or 5 stages of what's happened there. And if you saw the Knight Frank report, they're talking about upticks in real estate business already after, the 4 or 5 months and the 4 or 5 stages that they've been through. So
well, can we talk about that actually? Because that's why we have you here, because you guys are shifting really fast in a great way. And I want our audience to be able to understand that first, you guys are doing awesome. Second, because you're spread out everywhere, you see what's working. And I wanted to talk about that specifically. What are you seeing that's working in China?
Yeah, so I think, we took one of the pages out of their book. And honestly, I think a lot of us are doing it. And it's a great, kudos to you guys for the format that you bring to agents across the country and around the world. But I think most of it is just communication. And I think what they taught us early on, and our CEO there in China was giving us updates literally in January and February of what was going on with their region and what was happening before even became a reality, or we thought it'd be a reality here in the United States. And, you know, they were talking about how they were bringing everything online. One of the things they brought to their agent base is, and I think this is important for all of us, whether you're in the middle of what I would call, you know, this kind of weird crisis stage that we're in from a health perspective, or whether you're in a regular market, is just constantly trying to keep their agents focused on talking to consumers and being able to serve their communities. And that means doing it through having that positive mental mindset every day. And they were out doing virtual training, trying to keep people focused on the basics of the business and not shutting themselves down because of the fear that was being created out there in the world. Now, obviously health and safety is number one, but you know, we all know that this is a short-term speed bump. We will get through it. We'll be better on the other side. And you got to just focus on what's going to keep everybody, you know, moving in the right direction and towards the business that we're going to need to serve in the coming months ahead.
Hey, Mike, so, you know, with all the shifting going on, and it's impressive that you have 11,000 offices. I didn't realize you had that many, which is blowing my mind a little bit. So when all this happened, and, you know, offices started closing, businesses started closing, you know, a lot of stuff is going online, especially with training and so on and so forth. And, you know, Rhett is a very successful C21 agent down there where he's at. How are you, and this is a question for both of you, how are you guys bringing your company together digitally right now? Because I know from being a team leader of a market center, it's hard getting engagement in the physical market center, right? Let alone in a digital way. So what are you guys doing, both of you, on a company level and a brokerage level, to get engagement and make sure that you pour into everybody and make sure that they're happy and getting the attention they need?
Brett, I'll let you kick off, man.
Absolutely. So a couple of things that we're doing, you know, right away with I guess the brand is doing with us is we're very, very involved with Workplace, basically, which is, you know, the Facebook version, you know, encapsulated down to just a private scenario. And that has been a tremendous amount of help. So I wear multiple hats. Some people know this, but I do co-own a brokerage with my business partner. I also run a sales team. So I'm kind of on both sides of that. And it's really helpful, the webinars and the discussions for, you know, how to handle motivating your agents, how to handle dealing with certain things like the CARES Act and the PPP applications and things that really just having other brokers come together and talk about best practices and strategies there, as well as things for the agents themselves. There's a lot of groups on there and a lot of just individuals stand out and get a chance to really talk about what they're doing, along with the brand embracing people that are kind of standing out with stuff and really getting behind what they're doing there. In addition to the programming and stuff that's always getting better. And that's one of the things I really, really enjoy about becoming a part of Century 21, you know, 5.5 years ago, is that it gets better every day. And I really appreciate the fact that it's not, you know, nothing is stale or old about it. It's always, and if something's not working, it's, you know, they figure out how to replace that with something better. So Mike, I'll kind of lead that into where you want to add to it.
Yeah, no, Red, I appreciate that. And I think, you know, Nick, I always say the best thing about the Century 21 brand are the people in the Century 21 brand. And I think, you know, when you're part of a big global network, you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. There's always somebody who's looked at your problem, tackled your problem, had that challenge locally and faced it one way or the other. And everybody is so willing to share. So Rhett mentions the Facebook Workplace page. We have been hosting, and I think you guys are probably finding this as well, because people are, you know, self-isolating, because we're all stuck here in our homes. You know, people are spending more time focused on raising their skills and their knowledge. And, you know, whether they're, you know, on social media doing this because they're sitting on their couch or in their basement office like I am right now, or, you know, sitting in their own offices trying to figure out the next book to read or the next thing to brush up on, we have a captivated audience. And so we are cranking out so much communication and so much content that it's almost overwhelming. I just got off the phone with another great broker that Rhett knows well, Greg Harrelson. He's been doing a mind over market webinar for us over the last 3 or 4 weeks. And just, we're getting hundreds of our top agents listening in, talking about mindset, because the truth of the matter is that this market is going to continue to have people who are going to need to buy and sell homes. And that's the great thing about our industry, is that, you know, as long as having a roof over your head is in style, we will be valuable to the consumer and valuable to the public. That's what I love about our industry.
Mike, I want to comment on that in a second, but I also want to say Adriana Michaels, who's watching, says, hey, Mike, she's a C21 agent at Amber Realty in Torrance, California, and she's originally from Bloomfield.
Oh, come on.
She used to live right down from Egan's to Andrea, Adriana, sorry. The three of us, when I'm back in New Jersey and Montclair, we're going to go get a beer at Egan's.
I know Dave. I know her broker, and I know Dave. And so, by the way, I think I said this, Nick, but my first home was in Bloomfield on West Passaic Ave. Me and my wife had our first two kids there, and then we moved out here to the western edge of the county. So,
all right, real quick, because people are going to get sick of this. So I lived off of Broughton Avenue, right around the corner, and my kid went to Demarest School. All right, listen, we'll do this later.
I have a Broughton Ave story, which you probably will assimilate with, but I'll leave it out of this podcast.
What I was going to say was, yes, Tristan and I have been saying for the last several weeks, like, this is a time for everyone to hunker down and really just like better themselves in the sense that, and listen, I know that it's going to be hard. I have two kids under the age of 7. Tristan's got small kids. So does Rhett. I understand that this is difficult, but there's always time to read something that you never had a chance to read, to listen to somebody, to map out a business plan for the next 12 months when this all goes away. And by the way, the things that we're doing now virtually and digitally, that's not going to go away for a long time. This is going to be the new norm for the foreseeable future, because COVID-19 is going to be on people's minds, and you're going to have people that want to sell, but they're going to be nervous, especially in areas like Michigan and New Jersey and New York State where it's hit really hard. They might still want to go for that digital showing and not have people physically come inside their home. So if you're an agent that isn't up on those tools and techniques, this is your time to study it and learn and start implementing. So
I love that point. Go ahead, Tristan. Sorry.
Mike, I wanted to ask you a question in regards to that. First of all, Marty Rodriguez, who you know, says Mike rocks. Everybody knows Marty.
If Marty is listening to this, guys, you know you've made it. If you have Marty Rodriguez logging into your podcast, then Lab Coat Agents brings value. I'll tell you that right now.
I love that, Michael. Well, you know what? I think I just realized, Nick, that why we had so many people from Portugal jumping on over the last week. And it's because of Michael. I didn't know that, first of all, you had over 80 countries. And all of a sudden, over the last week, we've had people from all over the world join Lab Coat Agents. And so, dude, that makes total sense now, because we have people from all over the world watching right now. So
Ricardo and Joaquim Sousa, who run that region, are absolutely fantastic professionals. And, you know, that is a area, guys, that's getting – hit, and they were in it a little bit before us from the current, crisis as well. And those guys are just, again, leading their professionals through this marketplace, showing them how to adjust, how to adapt, and keeping the mindset fresh. Because again, anybody that in the Century 21 system knows we're going to get out of this stronger. Through 50 years, we've been through a lot of ups and downs. My friend Marty Rodriguez, who you just said, when we were on this top 221 agent mastermind, like, she's been through 20%, mortgage rates. She's been through 9/11. She's been through, floods and natural disasters and the recession of 2008. We will all get through this, guys. We just got to continue focus on doing the things that we can control. So love hearing that. It's great stuff.
Right. Michael, so you're talking to all sorts of amazing people from across the world, right? We don't usually get to talk to somebody like you. It's more just US type thing. What are you seeing? Like, the first things that come to mind that you see our agents are doing that is working right now. What comes to mind when I ask you that?
So, I mentioned Greg Harrelson a little bit earlier. I mean, one of the things I think that everybody's doing, and it's so great to see, in the current state, not just the industry come together, but the country come together and the world come together, because we really are all in this together. I know it's the hashtag, but the truth of the matter is, we are an extremely resilient species, and we as real estate professionals are an extremely resilient industry. And so, I think the best thing that I'm seeing people do, and Greg mentioned this on one of our podcasts, is that everybody is putting service before sales. And I think that's kind of in our DNA as real estate professionals, right? We always think about it as, we're out there serving our communities, we're taking care of our customers, we're delivering on the dream of home ownership here in the US or around the world. Because the product that we have, guys, it's different. It's different than what most people do. We don't sell widgets. It's not something that, is a nice to have. This is a place we are delivering where people are going to have their most intimate moments, raise families, create memories that are going to last a lifetime. And it's oftentimes the biggest financial investment that anybody's going to make in any country around the world. And so I think we have it in our DNA to serve, but people are really putting service first. Not only are we seeing people go out there, continue to be focused, continue to check in, but they're also out there doing things for their community, like, applauding first responders, giving shout outs to our healthcare workers, delivering food and just kind of helping their communities through this. And I think everybody's putting service first and worrying about the business aspect of it later, which will come in line. And that's what I love about our industry as a whole, man. There's nobody who gives more back to their local community than the real estate business and the real estate professionals.
Yeah, I completely agree. The thing is, what people need to be doing right now is, and real estate agents tend to have a hard time, I think, maybe accepting this type of hard truth. But like right now is the time to kind of get away from actively and blatantly going after new business, right? Because if you're pouring into your database and people that you love and people that love you, that new business is going to come to you, because at a time where people aren't thinking about they're not thinking about whether they want to sell or buy. Yes, some people are, right? But I was saying on a previous webinar that we did earlier, the Wall Street Journal said yesterday that listings are down across the country 27%. That's a huge drop, and that means people aren't thinking about it as much as they were a month ago. And so right now what you need to be doing is you need to be making sure people are okay. Making sure if you have an elderly friend or an elderly, past client, if you're going to the store, ask them if they need something, right? Like, do things that come from a place of service, because we're in a service industry. And when all this starts to go away, that is going to add to your pipeline inadvertently because you poured into other people.
Love that, Nick. Love it.
Michael, with that, what do you see as Century 21's number one goal right now? Because I know all of our goals changed with all of this, right? What are you guys focused on right now?
Yeah, I mean, let me shift gears. So before this, we had put, to tie into what Nick was saying, and Rhett knows this really, really well. But before this last 3 or 4 weeks, our mission and vision as an organization was to change this category from what we as professionals often think is a transactional category, to an experience-based business, right? And it's kind of what we've been preaching and the drum we've been beating. And, I think it's really important. And it goes to what Nick's saying, is that, putting service first and the experience of dealing with you first. Over the last couple weeks, our focus has changed a little bit, and that's really to help our professionals maintain their focus, maintain their mindset, and maintain some balance of, what's really happening out there with the focus for the future. And so, as Rhett mentioned earlier, we're just, getting our professionals on webinars to talk about the CARES Act and what the government and NAR, which God bless them for everything that, for all the dues we all pay into them. They've done a tremendous job stepping up to the plate. We've been lucky enough to have Dr. Lawrence Yoon on the phone with our organization, along with Shannon McGann, who's their head of advocacy. In fact, Christine Hansen is currently from Century 21 Hansen down in Florida, is currently the VP of advocacy for NAR. Like, just tying our folks together and telling them what to do, how to keep their businesses moving, how to take advantage of the SBA loans and the PPP Act that's out there, and really just trying to coach and counsel our people from a business perspective and from an entrepreneurial perspective in order to make the shift and come out of this even stronger.
As an organization, how do you communicate with 135,000 agents so that you can have more unison? How is that?
I mean, Rhett said it before, but one of the things we use most is Facebook Workplace, and it's really an avenue that everybody is used to, and so we decided, we should be using this for our own community in order to keep people connected, because it's something people are super familiar with and just so easy to use. And if you can't watch it now, just like your podcast here, you're going to watch it later on and download and bring it down from wherever it might be on our workplace page. So it's really a great place for people to interact and get together and share best practices.
Did you guys have that before, or is that something you decided to pivot to now in this current situation?
No, we've had it for a couple years now, and it's obviously come in handy. Nick, you make a great point. It's like I think probably all of us as leaders feel this, but there's so many things that we've had from a technology perspective or from a value proposition perspective that now our agents are like, holy cow, I didn't know we had that. Man, I would have taken advantage of this earlier. This is a great way to reach my sphere of influence.
So funny. Yeah, people don't realize like they have time now and they're like discovering all this new stuff that they didn't know they had. They just didn't have the time, right? They're out busy like listing and selling houses. They should be doing that. But now it's like a blessing in disguise. And this is going to better their business in the long run. I love it. That's awesome. Good stuff.
Well, Michael, the shift that's happening now in other parts of the world where they've had a turnaround now with COVID-19, how are you seeing them shift into a post-COVID-19 world? Is it how they expected? Is it more difficult? Is it easier? What are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to pretend that the shift is over and they're out in the clear and things are moving in the right direction. But I think, the people who have stayed focused and continued to work through this, tougher patch are coming out a little bit ahead of the game, right? And I think that's what we all have to realize as professionals is, I just was watching a little thing on CNN before I got on this with Dr. Fauci saying there is going to be no, okay, everybody back to work, right? It's not going to be a snap of the fingers and everybody go. It's going to be a little bit of a transition. And I think, the market will continue to bring people because of where we're at today who are going to need to buy and or sell because of the current, situation or economic environment or health scenario. And, we just have to be there. We have to be talking to real estate or talking to consumers and talking to our sphere and talking to people who need what we bring to the table. And that's knowledge, experience, and how to navigate this market. I mean, I believe as when uncertainty is about that, our value as real estate professionals rises incrementally because of the knowledge and the skills and the know-how that we have as professionals in every one of our individual markets. And I can bet Rhett right now has more people questioning him, whether they're listings that are on the market or buyers that were in the queue, as to whether they should be buying or selling or what they should do. What are mortgage rates going to do, right? Nobody has a crystal ball, but nobody's better to answer those questions than us.
Dude, you hit that right on. Rhett, did you have a question? Because I have.
No, I was just going to add to that. I said, it's kind of like the elevator speech. Someone, I always ask, how's the market? We have to shift, and we talked about this at our sales meeting, which we've moved to Zoom calls as well. Kind of with our local office, is having that elevator speech. Be more inclined to what's going on. But regardless of the market or how it is or how it isn't, even with uncertainty, you can always have a positive spin of what's going on. And I think that's what clients need to hear, and your past customers and friends, everybody else. So look, maybe we don't know the answers right now, but like everything's still moving forward. There still is a shortage of inventory in most markets. There still is going to be a need to buy and sell. Maybe we just need to let everything kind of settle just a little bit, and then we can pick back up when it makes sense to. So having those conversations with clients, that there's a lot of people that are, that have to buy and sell through the process now, and some that may delay for a few weeks. But at the end of the day, I've had 3 or 4 conversations like that with clients, today, talking about, should we wait to put our home on the market? It's not, are we going to put our home on the market? Yes or no. It's like, should we wait, or what should the strategy be? And we're kind of monitoring that weekly and keeping those conversations moving forward, but also just kind of listening to what their needs are and trying to advise those on case by case scenarios, depending on are they going to be vacant or occupied.
That's it. Michael, with 135,000 agents, that, first of all, wow, congrats on that. I didn't know. I thought it was like 100,000. So adding 35,000 more is a lot.
I knew they were bigger than Remax and bigger than Coldwell. Are you bigger than Coldwell Banker? It's like it's up there. bigger than Remax for sure. More agents than Remax.
But with those numbers and C21 being around for a long time, you guys have shifted over the years continually. And so let's say over the last 10 years, how has the company shifted into where it is now? Because I think you guys have done really well, first of all. So what are some of those highlights so that people can see that shift?
Yeah, I mean, I think Tristan, just in the last decade, right? I mean, if you kind of back up to 2010 and just look at where we were as an organization, and even domestically, we had a lot more offices then. And I continue to see our market and our industry kind of consolidating, right? I think, there's this kind of, especially right now, there's been what I would call a flight to quality. But I think even our largest franchisees and our largest entrepreneurs over the last 10 years have continuously gotten bigger by leveraging technology, leveraging tools, and really gaining synergy so that they could grow their businesses and turn them from what I would call more city or county based businesses into larger regional or even sometimes state by state businesses. And so, I think there's a shift in the market where you'll continue to see consolidation and people fall into a place where they can get good leadership. I mean, you mentioned the rebrand for us as an organization, and look, we, like I said, we're a 50-year-old brand. I think I mentioned it earlier, but I'm wearing my 50-year-old logo here for Century 21. We'll be 50 years old in 2021, and we've had to go through a lot of different iterations in order to focus on and serve the client's needs, the client of today. And so, part of that rebranding was part of that. But, I think what's great about our business is that, there's always going to be something that pushes us to be better, not necessarily for ourselves or to make more money, but pushes us to be better for the consumer. Because as Nick mentioned earlier, this market today that we're in is going to change the way that we do business and the way clients are expected to do business with us. And we're going to have to step up our game in order to provide for them.
Yeah, that's true. Now, you said something there that I want people to really take away from that. And that's using this opportunity right now to leverage technology, leveraging the tools, because like you said, over the last 10 years, our world has grown so fast and it's left some agents behind. And right now is the best time to go and take a look at what else you can do to add to that arsenal, because when else is the world going to stop for you, right? Never. So, Michael, you run an awesome company, and what has been, let's say, one or two of the biggest challenges that you've seen in running a big company? Because you guys are 50 years old. It's like, let's say it's like Apple, right? They've had to reinvent themselves. What are some of those challenges that you had to deal with, and how did you deal with those?
Yeah, I mean, I think just the sheer size of the network is always a challenge in and of itself, right? Is making sure that, we've got entrepreneurs who run very different styles of business. The way Rhett runs and controls and does his business in his local marketplace is a lot different than, maybe somebody else in our organization. And, one of the things we love to be able to have is consistency of service, but that's not always possible based on market to market challenges or operator to operator challenges. And our biggest job is really to keep people focused on the fundamentals of what it takes to be successful in this business, whether it's a broker or an agent. And, when you have a network our size, it's not always that easy. So I think that's part of it, is to provide focus for each one of our brokers and our agents to be able to serve their customers and consumers. I think is probably our largest challenge, right? Because we do, I mean, the brand name is only as good as every single agent who carries the business card and serves the consumer in their local marketplace. And, it's tough when you have such a big network to be able to control that.
It's very true, man. Very true. Michael, how do you keep your mindset high? Because you talk to, it's like Nick and myself and Rhett here. We talk to so many different levels of people psychologically. Some are doing great and some are not. And sometimes that affects us. How do you stay more focusing on what's going to happen, like the hope, part of this.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, and Rhett knows this, anybody who knows this, it knows that, like, I am first thing in the morning, I got to get in and get my run in, whether it's a run or some type of cardio to clear my head, get focused on the day and know where I'm headed. I think it always puts anybody in a positive state of mind, like a body, and it doesn't have to be running. It could be anything. It could be walk around the block. It could be yoga. It could be meditation, whatever it is that kind of gets you focused and gets you mentally clear to get and tackle the day, I think is important. I think one of the great ways, Tristan, honestly, and especially in this environment we're in right now, I think you've got to keep what motivates you front and center, right? So I'm working from my basement. I got my 4 kids running around upstairs, bouncing all over the floors, trying to be homeschooled, right? We all do. And I think one of the things you got to do is keep front and center what motivates you every single day. Why are you in this business? Are you trying to put your kids through school? Are you trying to, get a bigger home, acquire an investment property, help a parent or a family member retire, give more back to the community, whatever it is, keep that motivation front and center. And I think, Tristan, the reason you have so many people on this call is because you want to hang out with like-minded individuals who think at a very high level and want to exceed at a very high level. And so I think that's ultimately important, is to surround yourself with people who want to exceed expectations, who want to push themselves outside of their comfort zone, and who want to think positive every single day.
That's awesome, man. Any recommendations on books or maybe a Netflix show you're watching that everybody should be watching, man? Just to throw a curveball at you? Well,
so it's funny. I keep telling everybody this story is that, my wife loves, before we go to bed, to watch like CSI and murder investigation shows and all. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't do it. Like, I'm not going to get caught up in this. So believe it or not, I am not a big television watcher. I do love Billions. I will say that. I love the Billions show, which is pretty cool. But I got to tell you, this is one that I always keep. The E-Myth, if you guys haven't read this, it's an oldie but goodie. Talks a lot about whether you're a real estate broker owner or whether you're an agent entrepreneur, on how you work on your business versus working in your business. And it's just a great read for anybody as a basic.
We have Michael Gerber on next Friday.
Come on.
Do you want me to connect you by text to him? He would love
that. Would be so cool. That would be so cool.
He's an awesome.
Hey, Mike, I have a quick question for you. What's with our wives and crime scene murder shows? Like my wife, listen, I swear to, she literally binged watched all 22 seasons of Law & Order SVU. And now she's watching Forensics Files, which we only used to watch in hotel rooms, but now we can't go to hotels. So she's watching it at home. It's like wives and murder shows. Like, I'm sleeping with one eye open.
I just don't get it.
I don't know, man.
Dude, Nick, you and I are lost long buddies. I got to tell you, man.
You guys are like
every time it's like it's Law and Order SVU on the thing.
It's crazy.
Like, I don't know.
And Criminal Minds is the worst one. I couldn't. As soon as she had it on, I'd have to leave the room. It's just woof.
No.
Anyway.
So let's highlight C21 a little bit. What are some of the things that you're proud of Century 21? And because it's first of all, it's an amazing company. Here at Lab Coats, we don't see brokerages. We just see one whole group of people working together to achieve something great, right? But what are you proud of C21?
I'm honestly, I'm most proud about the people. I say it all the time, Tristan. The best thing about our organization is the people, and the people that build the organization. I said it earlier, but like, we are defined literally by every single person who carries the Century 21 business card. Rhett knows this, and I think he's a big proponent of it, but for over 20 years, we have been really faithful at surveying and finding out what our clients think about us. And here's the truth of the matter. The people the agents inside of our business who are intentional about the way that they service their customer, and they go out and they use our quality service program and score 90% above or better, do double the amount of business that everybody else does. And I think what I'm proud about is being associated with so many great professionals who not only you knock it out of the park from a business perspective, like Rhett, like Marty Rodriguez, like some of the other people you mentioned before, Greg Harrelson, Kevin Mills, but I'm also proud about what they do in their local communities. Because as I said earlier, we've had a probably close to 40+ year relationship with Easter Seals. They're our philanthropic partner. We've given over $100 million back to that partner and association. And, there's so many other little, local charities and causes that our people are not just giving money back to, but giving their time, their blood, and their sweat and tears to. And so, I'm most proud of our people and what they do for their communities and people who are less fortunate.
That's awesome, Michael. How are you guys at C21 shifting into more of a tech-oriented world? Are you guys putting anything in place? Maybe adding new features? What are you guys doing in that realm?
Absolutely. So one of the big things that we're working on, not just from a Century 21 perspective, but our parent company, if you know it or not, is Realogy, a company that, is very tech forward. We've been working kind of behind the scenes and are literally still investing in it right now, but we're putting together what we believe is a second iteration of our A to Z platform, which is basically a tech-enabled platform that will enable all of our brokerages, whether it's Rhett Harmon in the state of Georgia or Marty Rodriguez in California, to open-endedly plug any of the tools and systems that they like, from CRM to closing tools, into this open architecture platform that we believe will help our brokers and our agents become more efficient, more effective with the tools that they like to use from a technology standpoint. So I really believe that open architecture is where this industry has to head, because of the fragmented kind of region by region components of what we do. And the better we are to be able to plug those systems in so that they can talk to one another from A to Z, the better off our system will be, and our consumers will be in for it. So,
well, dude, that's interesting that you say that, because I know Nick and I both think that the fragmentation that this industry has is really a challenge. And I think it stems from how it was created initially through the MLSs, right? Because they're so fragmented. Even, dude, you have 80 countries. I can't even imagine how fragmented it is in those countries. Just the fact that we have to deal with that, I think that's part of where it stems from. It almost feels like we're all working by ourselves if we don't belong to a brokerage, right, that stands for us.
I mean, we in New Jersey, Nick will know this, we have like 3 MLSs that serve, I could find my house or a house in my local community on 3 different MLSs around North Jersey. And I think you're absolutely right. And, again, that's just the beginning part of the equation. We find that our brokerages, right, use anywhere from 6 to 12 different technologies to run our business. Then you have their agents who, maybe use another 3 to 5. And so, everybody has what they like, and there's a lot of great technologies out there that help people in their business and their business needs. And, unless you can try to figure out how to get them all woven together, it's going to be difficult really to kind of seamlessly serve our customers. So I agree with you on the fragmentation part.
Yeah, man. Any other questions? I have one from the audience. I think it's a good question. Michael, it's from Jessica Morrison. She's one of our great friends. Do you see blockchain making an entrance in real estate as well as title? How do you see that?
I probably have to say that I don't know a ton about the blockchain technology. I mean, from what I read about it, I think it's probably inevitable, but it's a great question. I'm not sure I have all the answers on that one.
Don't worry, I didn't either. That's why I threw it to you. I was like, I don't know. Michael?
It's like, we don't know, so ask Mike. Maybe he knows. Maybe
Rhett knows. So guys, in closing, any questions that you guys have, Nick, Rhett, anything you want to add, Michael?
No, I really appreciate what you guys are doing for the community and for, agents across the system and around the world, it seems like. I think now in this time of opportunity, but also as we look at how we all pull through this together as a community, to have, like you said, we don't have to look at this brand by brand. Let's look at this as an industry. How do we better serve the consumer, the customer, and take care of our communities? Thanks for everything you guys do, and thanks for the opportunity to be on.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you. And then we'll connect you to Michael Gerber so you guys can
so cool. So cool.
Chill with that. And then, I know you and Nick are getting like best friends right now.
Don't forget to connect to Jersey Boys. Come on.
I got
don't
it.
know if
You guys.
It'd be great. Love it, Nick. Nick,
Thanks,
Tristan, thank you so much,
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Have a great rest of the day. Red, I'll talk to you real soon, buddy.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
You guys.
Bye.